The Grand Canyon is one of Earth's most iconic scars. It stretches for 277 miles across northern Arizona and is up to 18 miles wide. But its depth is the most mind-boggling part. It plunges for over a mile, which is more than twice the height of the Empire State Building. All told, it is one of the largest canyons in the world, and it has been called one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. So how did this geologic giant come to be? The answer is pretty simple. It was carved out by the Colorado River over the course of 5 to 6 million years. But don't let that simplicity fool you. There are hundreds of millions of years worth of geologic history packed into those canyon walls. Let's take a journey back in time to see how the Grand Canyon came to be. We'll begin our story about 180 million years ago when the entire western United States was underwater. This sea stretched from the Arctic Ocean in the north to the equator in the south. The shallow waters along the central portion of this sea would eventually become the site of the Grand Canyon, but at the time, there was nothing but ocean. Life in this environment was dominated by swimming creatures such as trilobites and These animals had hard shells and skeletons made of calcium carbonate, and when they died, their remains fell to the bottom of the sea and accumulated in vast quantities. As new generations of trilobites and mollusks died, their shells and skeletons became part of this growing pile. Eventually, all of those shells and skeletons were compressed into a sedimentary rock called limestone. But life on land was also beginning to flourish during this period. Dinosaurs were starting to roam the earth, but they weren't the only terrestrial creatures. Small mammals were scurrying around as well. Their tiny bodies left behind a wealth of data that reveals much about their behavior. Fossils of these early mammals have been found in the Grand Canyon, and they date back to 125 million years ago. But that's still 55 million years before the end of the Cretaceous period, when an asteroid impact wiped out the dinosaurs. Meanwhile, far from the action on the ground, the tectonic plates that make up Earth's crust were shifting and colliding. What would eventually become the Rocky Mountains began to rise. Up until now, the entire region where the Grand Canyon would one day form was still underwater. But as the Rockies grew, the sea began to retreat. By 65 million years ago, the Rocky Mountains were high enough that the entire region was dry land. A few million years later, the Rocky Mountains reached their current height of 40,000 feet. But our story doesn't end here, because the rocks that make up the Grand Canyon were you and I all formed at the same time. In fact, the oldest rocks in the canyon walls are more than 1.8 billion years old. That's more than 95% of Earth's age. These ancient rocks were formed before the first animal had evolved. At the time, the area was mostly barren, except for some primitive bacteria and fungi. Over the next 500 million years, more sedimentary rocks would be deposited on top of the ancient rocks. One of these layers is called the Tonto group. It contains fossils of some of the earliest known vertebrates. These fish-like creatures lived more than 500 million years ago. Later, the Vishnu schist and the Zoroaster granite were formed under intense heat and pressure deep within the earth. Finally, the Kaibab limestone was deposited in a shallow sea more than 300 million years ago. All of these rocks were laid down horizontally, but over the past 10 million years, they've been tilted and uplifted to form the Colorado Plateau. This plateau is a vast elevated region that encompasses the Grand Canyon and other nearby canyons. The Colorado River began carving through the plateau around 5 to 6 million years ago. The river was initially a small stream that flowed into a larger river called the ancestral Mississippi. But as the Rocky Mountains continued to rise, the Colorado River was captured by the tectonic forces at play. Instead of flowing into the Mississippi, it began to flow toward the west. Today, the Colorado River is one of North America's mightiest rivers. It drains a region of about 480,000 square miles. The river begins in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado and flows for about 1,450 miles before emptying into the Gulf of California and Mexico. On its journey, it passes through 7 states, including Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada. But the Colorado River's path wasn't always this way. In fact, until the late Pliocene epoch about 2.6 million years ago, the river drained into the Gulf of Mexico via the Mississippi River. This means that the river was not responsible for carving the Grand Canyon until just a few million years ago. Today, the Colorado River's flow carries 10% of all water flowing in rivers in the United States. Its average discharge rate is 42,000 cubic feet per second. That's enough to fill 165 American football fields with water every second. As the river flowed across the Colorado Plateau, it began to cut through the horizontal layers of rock. The river's flow erodes the rock like sandpaper, slowly but surely carving out the Grand Canyon. This process is called hydraulic action, but the river does more than just erode the rock. It also transports it. As the river flows, it carries sediment downstream. This sediment is made up of everything from sand to boulders. The river's velocity determines the size of the particles it can carry. When the river slows down, it deposits the sediment it's been carrying. Over time, these deposits form alluvial fans, which are fan-shaped deposits of sediment that extend outward from the river. The Grand Canyon is home to many alluvial fans, each one a testament to the river's power to erode and transport sediment. Some of these fans are made up of boulders and gravel, while others consist of finer sediments such as silt and clay. As the Colorado River continued to flow, it eroded deeper and deeper into the earth. Each layer of rock presented a different level of resistance to erosion. Some layers were easy to erode, while others were more resistant. The river's erosive power was matched by the tectonic forces that continued to uplift the plateau. Together, the river and the tectonic forces created a dynamic environment that has resulted in the Grand Canyon we see today. This process of erosion and deposition is constantly shaping the Grand Canyon. The river continues to cut deeper and deeper into the earth, while the tectonic forces continue to uplift the plateau. This means that the Grand Canyon is a constantly changing landscape. New features are constantly forming as the river carves through the rock. It can be difficult to imagine the vast amount of time it took to form the Grand Canyon, but it helps to remember that it took 5 to 6 million years for the river to carve out the canyon. That's equivalent to more than 10 times the length of human civilization. The Grand Canyon is truly a testament to the power of nature and the incredible lengths of time required to create some of the most spectacular landscapes on Earth. The Grand Canyon is home to a variety of plant and animal species, many of which are found nowhere else on Earth. The canyon's unique ecosystems are shaped by the steep slopes, deep crevices, and the diverse geology of the area. The north rim of the Grand Canyon, which is less visited than the south rim, receives more rain and snow, leading to lasher vegetation, including forests of ponderosa, pine and Douglas fir trees. The south rim is drier and features a different set of plant species, including the iconic Joshua trees. The Grand Canyon is also home to a variety of wildlife, including desert bighorn sheep, California condors, and ringtail cats. The canyon walls provide habitat for a variety of reptiles, birds, and mammals, as well as hundreds of species of insects and arachnids. The Grand Canyon is also home to several endangered species, including the California condor and the humpback chub, a small fish that lives in the Colorado River because of its immense size and unique biodiversity. The Grand Canyon is protected as a national park. The park was established in 1919 and is one of the most popular national parks in the United States, attracting more than 5 million visitors each year. Visitors come from all over the world to marvel at the Grand Canyon's vastness and beauty. The park offers a variety of hiking trails, camping sites, and other recreational opportunities. Visitors can also learn about the Grand Canyon's geology, history, and ecology through the park's visitor centers and museums. The Grand Canyon is a place of immense natural beauty and wonder. Its colorful layers of rock, its towering walls, and its diverse wildlife and plant life make it one of the most spectacular places on Earth. Whether you visit the Grand Canyon in person or just dream about it from afar, you can't help but be struck by its grandeur.